Alright, what's up guys? It's Freshly Fried here again with the latest video how-to guide here. I've had a lot of questions since we've released the videos and information showing people how to clean up not only their video feed but their gyro traces by using simple little electronic component called a capacitor. Now, we've all seen and heard about these things from way back in the day from such greats and memorables as Project Blue Falcon. Man, that guy was great. Taught me so much when I first got into this hobby. So let's give a quick little rundown. What we're going to talk about today, and this is specifically for Flight 1 ESC to flight controller connections. Now this can be adopted for any other ESC to a Flight 1 flight controller, and this can also be done on any flight controller that's using a 4-in-1 harness, or if you have a VBAT and ground signal anywhere, you can also put these on. You can also add caps to 5-volt lines if you did not know that, for extra filtration. So we're going to get started here. First of all, we just have a 35-volt 1000 microfarad Panasonic low ESR. The caps that I recommend highly are Panasonic caps. If you cannot get Panasonics, you can get Rubicons. You need to make sure they are low ESR. The better the cap, the better the results. They're also going to be more expensive. So with a cap, you're going to have two leads on the cap. One's a positive, one's a ground. The positive is always the longer lead, the ground is always the shorter one. The grounds on these Panasonic caps also have a strip with a marking on them to dictate which one is the ground. What I do is I take and I cut these back so that I have between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch of the leads left. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your 4-in-1 harness. And on these 4-in-1 harnesses, it doesn't matter which side you do this to. But on one side, there is going to be, the first 3 wires are going to be red, green, and black. Alright? You want to start with those wires. If you look at the other side, it's going to be red, like a teal and a blue or something. Those are not the ones you want, okay? Don't use those wires. You want the red, green, and black wires, okay? So what you're gonna do, you need to quit snoring, bud, alright? Try to film. Alright, so what you're gonna do, guys, quite simply, you're gonna take a pair of strippers and closer to one end of the connector. You don't really want to do it in the middle. I like to do it towards my ESC side, so I'm gonna grab that red wire about a 1/2 inch up from the connector, and I'm going to gently splice it back. I don't want to cut the wire. Sorry guys, hold on 1 second. Come here, bud. You need to get up. Come on, get up. Up, 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 up. You're being too loud. You gotta go. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So what you're going to do is you're going to gently strip back the wire. You do not want to cut it. You do not need to cut these wires to put caps in these, alright? This is a little secret. So you're going to strip back the red wire. Now I also need you to go and do the same thing on the black wire. And you're going to want to do it in the same relative space that you did it to the red one, okay? And the reason you're going to do that is because this cap, or the cap wires that you're going to use, are going to line up with that. So now that you've done and gone and stripped the sheathing back on the wire, we're going to take a pick or something very skinny and pointy, and you're just going to gently press it through the middle of the wire strand. And your goal while you're doing this is to separate the wire strand into 2 equal portions. You know, you want 2 equal halves of wires here. You don't want to have, you know, 1 or 2 wire strands on one side and then 10 on the other. So you should end up with little hoops in there, basically. Now, you're going to make sure and line up and make sure that your leads of your cap go through each loop that you've created, alright? Positive is going to go on the red wire, so the unmarked side goes on the red wire. the negative mark side goes on the black wire. So what you're gonna do before you do this, I want you to get your soldering iron, your TS100, your Hakko, whatever you're using. I want you to get this warmed up and heated up. Flux it up a little bit, because flux is your friend, guys. You can even get the component ready that way. Now, I want you to go and get some solder tinned on just the very end of the lead, about 1/8 of an inch up. You don't need any more than that. Okay, so now what you're gonna do, and if you have a pair of helping hands, this makes it a lot easier, but it's not necessary. We're gonna go ahead and gently slide our leads into one of our power or ground wires. You only need to start with one. So we're gonna do our power first. You're gonna slide the lead in between that loop and then gently tug the wire straight so that it kind of closes around and makes a solid connection of wire to connector or wire to lead. You do not want the solder to be making this joint. You want the friction of those two together to be making that joint. Sorry, I haven't ate very well today, so I'm very, very shaky. But okay, so now we've got our power done. So now you're gonna go and rotate it gently. Move the green wire out of the way best you can. Again, get that slid in there and kind of snug it down so that it is nice and tight, wire to lead, and then just solder them together. Okay, now that is it for our soldering. As you can see, it's not very pretty right now. Here's where the magic comes in. This is why I said you do not need to cut these leads. Don't waste your time cutting these leads. You're going to make the connection worse. You're going to probably put more noise into your feed by doing so. So now what you're going to do is take your pick or your razor blade, whatever you have that's pointy and thin, and you're going to work one wire at a time. You're going to start with the outer red wire, your power wire, and I want you to just peel up that little plastic tab right there. Yes, as best as you can. Peel that up gently. Don't go too crazy. If it doesn't release when you peel it up, that means you just need to kind of peel it away a little bit better. Sometimes the wires get stuck in there. And you're just going to go ahead and pull it out like this. And then push that plastic tab down so it's nice and straight and flat. And it can even be pressed in so it kind of concaves down a little bit. That'll give you a really solid connection. Now you're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the third wire, the black wire that's on your negative cap. Alright, and you're going to go ahead and slide that lead out, and again, if you have any issue, just kind of gently pry it up and work it again, and it'll come right out. Then push that tab back down, and again, you want to be very gentle with these because they will break. Alright? Now once you get to that point, it should look like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take some shrink tubing, 1/8 inch or 1/16 inch or less diameter, works great. You're just going to take and slide one piece over the positive, starting on the end that you just pulled out, and then you're going to slide the other piece over the negative so that it goes straight down flush with that capacitor. So the leads are both covered, we don't have any bare connection. Now you can use a lighter, or I prefer a heat gun, but for sake of speed of use of this video, I'm just going to use a lighter. And you're going to go ahead and shrink tube those down. Now once you've done that, you can go ahead and reassemble your harness. Just make sure that you put your wires exactly back where you got them from. So again, black is going to go third from the end on the left with the tabs facing up towards you. So that's technically the bottom side of the connector up. You'd be starting on the left. You're going to slide the ground in on that third position from the left. And then your power is going to be the one that's on the end. And again, we're just gonna slide and push those in gently. They should slide in without any friction, any resistance. If they're not going in smoothly, that means you're doing something wrong, or maybe something's bent or out of shape. So be very mindful of that. They should just snap right back in and be solid. They should not be falling out. If you go ahead and put them back together and say one wire keeps pulling out, just pull that lead back out and then go ahead and push that plastic tab down a little bit stronger and push that lead back in and see if that doesn't do it for you. Now once that's done, you're going to go ahead and take, I like to use basically like 5/8 or 3/4 inch diameter, and I cut it down to the length I need, and then I take my needle nose pliers and I gently push them through the center of it, and I stretch it outward with the pliers on 2 different axes on both sides. I flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Now the reason I do that is because when I stretch out the shrink tubing like that, I actually get a very, very solid, secure connection with the shrink tubing. It seals down really tight. Whereas if I were to use something that was naturally big enough just to slide over, it might be kind of loose or have some ridges in it. Now, when that's all together like this, before you shrink it down, the last thing I like to do is to hold on to my capacitor end and grab the FC end and just gently twist the main harness. Now, you can do it while it's in there. If you have trouble doing it that way, you can also slide the shrink tubing back out and do it outside of it and then slide it back in. Now bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to use the heat gun to shrink this one down better. That way it doesn't look all ugly. So, there we go guys. That is one 4-in-1 filtered with a 35 volt 1000 microfarad capacitor. I promise you this will clean up your gyro and your video feed. Even if you have a cap on your XT60, which I highly recommend that you do. If you're going to run this style capacitor setup, I recommend that you have one on your battery lead as well. But that's it guys, it's as simple as that. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes once you know what you're doing, and it's as easy as that. Now I hope this has helped you guys out. If you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy the service that I'm providing you guys, if it helps you out, please show your appreciation. Please like, share, and subscribe to these videos. And if you can go a step further. You can become a patron to this channel. I have some great member benefits for those who have joined. We are a small community right now, but we have an amazing backing within the community. Everybody is like family, and you get the best support in the industry right now. It's basically 24/7 support. If you have an issue, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. If it's Flight 1, KISS, Beta Flight, if you're flying a wing, it doesn't matter. We will help you. We are opening a new website as well, guys. Here's the big thing. It is ffstash.com. That is the stash. That is the new website to get all your FPV gear. The website, the company name is Freshly Fried Stash. Again, it's ffstash.com. You can get any of the FPV gear that you can get anywhere else. You can find it here. We really appreciate your business. I really hope that you guys check it out. Give us some feedback on what you like, what we should fix, what you think we could do better. We'd love to hear it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll try to get these videos out a lot more often. I'm sorry, guys, it's been so busy, but I will get back to getting some weekly videos out for you guys. How-tos, flight vids, some vlogs. I'm not the best at that, but we'll get some of those out and show you what's going on in the industry out here on the East Coast. Alright guys, have a great weekend. Thanks for checking in.